So, I am really just kind of using this video as a way to kind of just explain what I'm doing here. And so I'm going to just throw up some background footage here for you guys. And we're just going to kind of talk. Um, YouTube, for me, has always been kind of a passion of mine. Yeah, among other things. I love creating things for people. And I think bringing smiles is probably the most important part of what I do here. And I try to take it very seriously. What I do is very important to me. And I would love it if I had the technology to do it better. Maybe do it more. That would be something really special to me, and I wish I could. But, unfortunately, I am just not financially well right now. And I'm not mentally well. A lot of things are just kind of off right now, and I'm kind of coming into my own as a person, I guess. And so, this channel, the Angel's Journal, as I have called it, as of now, I might change that, I don't know. I'm using this as sort of an adventure kind of thing, right? I'm just kind of documenting my struggles here. Not really for views or anything. Really, this is, for me, more about just kind of getting my thoughts out there, really. I'm not really doing anything to boost these videos anyway. I don't care, honestly. I mean, of course I want people to see these because I want people to kind of learn from what I'm doing, and kind of, or maybe you don't need to learn anything. Maybe you just need to know that you're not alone, and that I also understand, because this world can feel very isolating sometimes. It's very difficult to make it on a day-to-day sometimes, to be perfectly honest. The world is getting harder and harder nowadays, especially here in America. Things are just getting worse and worse, and it's become difficult for some of us to even claim that we're real and we exist. With this whole deporting of U.S. citizens and like this whole transgender isn't real thing, which is kind of taking a back seat now, which is really neither here nor there for me, I guess. It's, if it's not one thing, it's another. But amidst all of this, I've always felt like it's really important to create content that, or just things like memories, fun. Do things that you take joy and pride in. And I would love to take pride in what I do. I think I do. Honestly, I'm very proud of my work, however insignificant it might be at the moment. I take great pride in what I do and how I do it. And I very much enjoy the work I do. I love putting out these videos for you guys, just to have something for you guys to watch. You don't even have to pay attention. I know the way I do things isn't very entertaining in the now, but once I get started, or once I even get cash from like an actual job, which I'm trying to work on getting back into at the moment because the job market is fucking terrible. But aside from that, to be perfectly honest, things are really going according to plan. And right now, I use this channel as a way to just kind of throw out what I'm thinking. You know, I don't really script anything. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll start doing like actually scripted content. I would much rather be like a streamer or whatever, but you know, I don't know, the requirements on streaming is just a little bit tighter than I wish, and even when it isn't for like people like Twitch, you have to set things up a certain way. Like right now, what I do here, like at the moment, I can't find my camera stand, and so my phone is literally just laid on my bed right now, propped up against a Shishibo cube and a makeshift phone stand. That is that is what is supporting my phone right now to even record this. I record with my phone in a very shitty like setup here. I don't even have like screen recording here. Obviously, like that's my whole fucking TV right there. You know. So I know this isn't like the best high quality, but I like putting it out, and I put it out because it's nice. It's nice to create content, you know. I enjoy this, and I don't want to bog down the other channel, the main channel, with this kind of stuff because this is heavy content, you know. I don't want to drag those sorts of things into that, and so that's why I decided to start this separate channel, but I wasn't even sure if I wanted to really promote this in any way. But the more I kind of thought about it, the more I thought people go through what I go through every day too. You know, other people also have these same struggles, right? And so I thought to myself, well, I might as well use my experience and my growth as a person as a way to also teach people and kind of show people that you're not alone in this. So that's really the point of this channel. I just want people to know that there are other people going through the same thing and they're not alone. And I've said that several times already. I know. Because I don't really know what to say, to be perfectly honest. So I want people to feel like they're seen and they're heard, and I really just sincerely hope that this channel provides them some sort of window. You know, I want people to feel at home. Like right now, as I'm speaking, there is an upload going up right now because I do a lot of tarot, and the universe is just kind of yelling at me to release some things that have been holding me back. And I sent them a message, and I doubt they'll get it, but if they don't, I am using that video as a way to just kind of put it out there for myself, I guess. Now, of course, that's not really the same, and I would prefer if they answered me, but, you know, that I'm sure you guys will see that if you care when it comes out. But I feel like it's important to help people. You know, people are human. People are fragile. They're breakable. You know, people are important. They're not just currency. They're not just numbers on a screen, you know. And I feel like it's important to acknowledge the fact that people are real and they do have feelings. They're just like me and you. You know, it's important to not isolate yourself in this world, especially in the climate we live in now, where the hatred is just so easy. And so I really want this channel to be a way for people to kind of, I don't know, maybe even grow together. Like a big part of my quarantine, and you know, when COVID came around, a big part of that for me was Unus Annus, which was only up for about a year. But I loved Unus Annus. I loved watching Mark and Ethan do just the dumbest shit for like a year. They did it for an entire year. And they said when they were done, it was just going to disappear. And then they did it. They deleted it, and it's gone. And I feel like that is so much deeper than we give it credit for, really. Like, even now, they put up, like, memorial videos on the anniversary. They did one last year, which was, like, a stitch between the two of them, where they had, like, a conversation back and forth, and you had to, like, play the videos at the same time to get the conversation, and I thought that was really cool. I love the way they did that. That's awesome. But it's like simple things like that. Like, that's the way life should be lived. And I feel like it's difficult to even think like that nowadays because you've got to pay your bills. You've got to make sure you keep that job. You've got to keep yourself stable. You've got to do so much just to, like, get by anymore. You know, it's a nightmare to just live nowadays, let alone, like, being kind to your fellow man and whatnot, you know? Like, I don't consider myself to be a good person, per se. You know, I know there's things wrong with me. I'm not what many people would consider normal. But, you know, I'm not an asshole. You know, I don't ignore the fact that my fellow man needs me. You know, there are things that are going on that are very important. You know, people have struggles of their own, and I would love nothing more than to help more people. But the fact is, I'm one man, and so the side goal of this little channel, because really the main goal here is for me to get my thoughts out and just kind of throw my own thoughts out. Not every video is gonna be like this one. You know, not every video is gonna be revolutionary or anything, but I want most of these videos to have some sort of coherence to them, I guess. I want them to feel helpful in some way, I guess. And I want them to be useful. You know, I don't want these videos to just be me complaining. Because that's not good for anybody. It's not good for me, it's not good for you, you know. The point of things like therapy isn't to just complain at the wall. It's also to, like, get genuine advice about your problems and, like, how to solve them, you know. So I hope that I can kind of serve as not a replacement, because you should go to therapy. You should get help of your own, like, obviously. But I think you should also be able to go out into the world and not have to worry about what people think of you or something like that, you know. And therapy, as helpful as it is, it can't fix you, you know. I want people to go out into the world and be able to live their lives and live them well, live their best lives. And therapy, while it can help you, doesn't necessarily give you the wisdom or the insight to actually apply the advice they gave you. You know, it's the age-old adage that says you can only give someone help if they want it. You know, you can only help someone that wants to help themselves. You know, so if you don't really want the advice, then going to therapy will do you nothing. So I'm kind of hoping that these videos will kind of serve as something to help people. Yeah, I've already got several up now, and they just kind of serve no real necessary purpose. most of them are just me kind of venting about how I'm feeling at the time. Most of these are just going to be me kind of venting about something, if I'm being completely honest. Most of these videos will be me venting about some likely niche problem. Because admittedly, I do have some unique mental problems. Yes. Yeah, I'm certainly different. I'll be the first to admit I'm not necessarily okay. But, that's about self-control, really, I think. Like, I'm not going to pretend I'm any better than you or you or you. Like, I'm no different than your average Joe. Like, I might be just a guy, but that doesn't mean I'm a special guy, Like, I am just a dude. I'm just some guy on the internet, you don't even have to listen to me talk, honestly. I'm happy if you do. I appreciate it. But these sorts of videos tend to act, especially over here, as just something to think about, really. The videos I normally put out on the main channel are just me kind of putting on a game that I like. Like, I fully intend to do a series on Epic Mickey here. I love Epic Mickey. I think this is one of the most fun games I've ever played, and despite the fact a lot of people don't really like it, I enjoy it. I just think it's kind of fun to look at all the set pieces and things. But this is just background footage. This is just background footage for this video, because I'm in a state to put together something that's a little bit more, like, actually kind of put out with a purpose, I guess, and that purpose is just me kind of going on about what I actually want to do with this. And, I want this to be a place where people can get genuine advice, I want people to be able to actually get help. And I know therapy isn't always what we need. I mean, sure, I'm definitely not a professional. Obviously, do not use anything that I upload as a replacement for actually going to therapy and talking to a professional, please. Because, I mean, at face value, I can't give you a prescription. I can't give you antidepressants. I can't get you that gender-affirming care you might need, I can't do any of that. I wish I could. That'd be cool. But, the fact of the matter is I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose you. I'm just kind of here to share what I'm going through in the hopes that, mainly just for me, just to kind of get it out, so I don't hold in these feelings, and I use me just kind of talking, really to myself, as a way to, I guess, kind of show what I'm thinking and feeling, That's really all this is. This is just me kind of talking to myself and really sorting my feelings out into words. It helps me understand things when I say them out loud, I guess. And doing this sort of content means that if by doing it this way, these videos are obviously just kind of out there for anybody. I don't have to upload these. I do it because I hope, internally, that someone out there somewhere feels the same way, and maybe me coming to a conclusion on my own will show them something that they didn't think about. Maybe they'll think of something because of me that they wouldn't have otherwise. Maybe I help someone by doing what I do here. I never know what will help someone. It could be something insanely simple. You know, it could be literally the most basic stuff, you know. Like, oh, like the very first video that's on this channel is the fear of failure, which is just me kind of talking about how being afraid to fail can really hold you back. And I'm sure that that sort of feeling is something everybody's had. You know, everybody knows what it's like to be afraid to mess something up, to be afraid to disappoint someone that maybe you care about. Maybe it's a partner or your mother, you know, someone that means something to you. If you fail that person, then you feel like you've hurt them. You feel like you've done them a disservice. You feel like you owe them something now, you know, and that sort of feeling can be really destructive to you, you know. Yeah, that's something that I'm sure everybody's experienced at some point. You know, the fear of failure is just human. You know, like that, and that's just the first video I put up. That's like surface level stuff. That's nothing new. That's nothing like revolutionary. Everybody's afraid to fail. You know, it's not exactly a new feeling. I'm sure everybody understands that sort of pain. And it can really cripple you. If you allow that to control you, it can really take control. You know, it's consuming, it is. And I don't know, I think people gloss over how painful some things are, I guess. You know, everybody has their demons. You know, everybody has something that will forever eat away at them, whether it's like anxiety or depression or PTSD or some sort of other trauma. There's so many different ways to traumatize a person. You know, it could be anything. And it could be so simple. You know, it could be really inexplainable too. Like, for example, I think Markiplier talked about this at some point. ADHD. ADHD is so painful because I can set aside my entire day to do this thing that I have to get done, and I'll want to do nothing more than this thing, but there's like this voice at the back of my head that's like nagging me to do anything but that thing, which I've specifically set aside today to get done. You know? Like, it can be so simple. And yet, some people just don't get that struggle because that's not a problem they have, so they don't care. You know, it's something so simple that a lot of people can overlook it. There's a lot of problems in the world that are like that. People are cruel. And I want my videos that, you know, go over these topics, when I vent about these things, I want people to see them and think to themselves, wow, I do that too. Maybe this will help me. You know, like, you know, they've come to this conclusion about this. Maybe I can use this advice to help me, and maybe I'll do better, you know. All of this will be worth it if one person lives because of me. You know, like, I don't want to bog down here, but suicide is such a prominent thing in the world. You know, it's such a overlooked thing, especially when it comes to men. As men, we are often expected to just kind of suck it up, I guess, and just pretend like it's not that bad. And it is, Like when a man looks at you and says he's tired and doesn't elaborate any further, that's bad. That's how you know he's not well. When a man tells you he's tired and doesn't tell you why, it means he's tired. And that kind of exhaustion can kill a man. It's a kind of taxing emotion that destroys you. Sometimes physically. Sometimes it's so bad that it physically hurts. It can be that bad. It's something that can eat away at you. That kind of pain takes your peace. It can really destroy you internally if you allow it, and it can be really difficult to pick yourself up out of that kind of a hole. It's something that's really challenging to deal with on your own, and that's just one problem of many that everybody goes through. And so I want to be a place. I want to put up things that people can look on and say, that makes sense. Let me try that. Or you're right, it's not that bad. And they'll feel better, There's so many things. There's so many terrible, terrible things that can happen to a person. Life is hard for all of us. Life is difficult. It is challenging. It is pushing, to our very limits. It will push us, and it will break us. And if the road to what you want is paved with broken glass, then you have to walk it anyway, because that's what you want. As long as you see the path to what you want to achieve, you can get it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And as long as you want this thing, you can make it happen. You just have to want it enough. That's why they say you can't help someone that doesn't want it, because if they don't want help, then they're not going to listen to you at all, because they don't care. They understand that there is a problem, and some people just won't take the help because either they don't understand that they really need it, or they just don't think it's worth it. Which is sadly the problem for a lot of people. A lot of people just don't think themselves worth the trouble. And that's a completely different problem. That is just as bad. The struggle of inner pride, I guess. Some people think they can handle it all their own and they don't. Or some people, I guess some people just don't see themselves very highly. Or they see themselves too high, and neither one is good. Both of these situations result in people being forgotten and left by the wayside and ruined. And it just doesn't go well. That's how you lose people. It's how people die. That's how people... It's why people get drunk and start playing with a gun, and then they don't come to work the next morning for obvious reasons. It's bad. And to think, had someone just been there to give them a word of advice, or to just be there, like anytime that someone has a problem, that is related to the video that has been released. Like, if you had the same problem, please feel free to comment and like talk about it. Absolutely. I will read those. I will respond to those. You know, like, that is something that I will dedicate my time to with pleasure, because the world is hard enough as is, and we need all the help we can get. So that's really what these videos are for, and I want all of you guys to really stick around, because first off, if you're here, thank you. You know, it means the world to me that you guys would come over here and check this out. You know, I appreciate the support, because that's what that is. That's inherent support, because you guys know what happens over here. I told you guys what was up immediately. So if you're here to listen to these, I appreciate it. But this is really about helping people. It's about helping people and showing them they're not alone. And I am just using this sort of stuff as a way to say, I'm having this problem. Let me work this out loud. I just happen to be recording it when I'm doing it, you know. Because, you know, any of those videos probably won't have a background footage with it. It's just something to listen to and think about. And really contemplate, you know. Because these are serious problems. And I want this to be a resource, I guess. I want this to be something people can use to feel better. I want people to be better, I guess. I can't really call it self-help, because, you know, it's not self, I guess. But I mean, this is for me. But, you know, anything you guys get from this is purely because you understood, you know. I'm not the reason any of you will do better. You will do better because you realized the strength within yourself. I am not the reason any of you do better at anything. I claim no credit for any help that you might get from these videos. That's not what this is for, by any means. I'm not here to claim credit for any of that. No. It's about community. Sure, but I didn't give you a solution. I never give solutions. Because frankly, it's kind of subjective. You know, problems are so subjective that really anything I say might take you the wrong direction. I could lead you completely away from what you actually need, you know. I could do the complete opposite of helping you without even necessarily meaning to, you know. I could do so much worse than help you. But that's probably where I'm going to cut this. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. But the world is cruel. And, well, I mean, frankly, we can't afford to just bite it back. We have to fight it back. You know, we can't just kick its ass. You know, there are other people that are struggling too, and sure, you can absolutely just drag yourself through this. I mean, I wouldn't blame you. The only person that truly has your back is you. I don't like you, die. The only person that will ever truly, actually have your back when you have a problem is you. Like, you will forever be your own best friend and your own worst enemy. You will always be your biggest cheer and your worst critic. It's just how it works. Because you know your biggest strengths and you also know your biggest weaknesses. Just inherently. You know who you are. You know. And because of that, you'll always be able to build yourself up and tear yourself apart in the same sentence. That's just how mental health goes, you know. It's a problem of control, right? And some people just don't have it. Life is difficult. Life is difficult for all of us. And I really hope that one day, maybe it's my content that helps you get there, but I want people to be better. I want people to be stronger. Not just, you know, because of me, but within themselves, you know. I want people to maybe even gain a level of understanding through this sort of stuff. I want people to be able to fix their own problems. I'm not just here to help you sort things out. I'm here to help you discover that you are stronger than you think. Because, you know, I don't necessarily do this specifically for you guys. I've said that many times. This channel is not specifically for everybody else. This channel started because I wanted somewhere to just kind of put my thoughts out. And maybe as a byproduct of me having this problem, someone else learned something. And that would be awesome. But there's no reason for me not to do this. And so I don't necessarily do this as a service, but I do this as a potential, you know. Like, it's like music. No one writes music specifically to help people. Well, I mean, I'm sure people do, but that's not why most people start. Most people write music because they feel inspired to create something. They feel inspired to create some feeling. They want to evoke some sort of emotion out of you, you know. Like, the most prominent example I can think of off the top of my head right now is probably Kendrick, because that man runs off of spite. That man runs off of pure spite, and I love him. But, you know, it's so much more than just, you know, for him driving Drake into the ground. For Kendrick, it was a matter of pride. Drake said some things he shouldn't have, and he made sure that Drake wasn't just finished. He wanted to make sure Drake was ruined. He didn't want to just bite back. It was about kicking his ass. It was about making sure that no one could think of Drake without thinking of Kendrick. Ever again. That was the point. And I think we can all agree he fucking accomplished that. That is a mission accomplished right there. You know, the Super Bowl this year was fucking insane because of him. Like, that is probably the craziest Super Bowl halftime show I've ever fucking seen. And it's because of Kendrick. Kendrick did that shit, and it was just the fucking coolest shit ever. And that's just one example, you know. You know, again, I call back to the creators of old, like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, because they don't upload content specifically to make people feel better. You know, they weren't searching for the fame they got. That wasn't the point. They were not actively going after that sort of recognition. They did not seek the millions that adore them now. But nevertheless, they got it. They acquired the adoration of millions. And through that, they've helped so many people. Probably not necessarily intentionally, but so many people are doing mentally, emotionally, physically, they're doing better because somebody gave them help when they needed it. Somebody put out a helping hand to someone that needed it, and they got the advice or the help or the support that they needed from someone else in that moment. and it helped them. Was that the purpose? No. But it worked. And that's what I want this to be. I'm not doing this specifically to help people, but it would make me so incredibly happy if that happened. And it would be so worth it if one person did better or kept living because of something I said. That would make me so happy, because I believe in that. I believe people should help each other, and they should be there for each other. The world is hard. The world is challenging. It will push you to your limits. It will break you on purpose, because that's life. It pushes you to grow. It challenges you, and you will learn things whether you need them or not. You'll learn things out of survival, or you'll learn things because you want a new hobby. But you will be pushed to learn new skills and new traits. You will acquire new survival tactics that you never thought you would need. But you do, because you gotta live. And it will become your new go-to, for all you know. I think I'm gonna cut this here, but the point I'm trying to make is that the world is hard enough, and while these aren't strictly made to help people, it would be so incredibly awesome if it did. If this helped someone, that would be amazing. Once again, I kind of wish you all great good fortune for helping me here, because, you know, again, you guys don't have to watch these. This is fucking nothing. I know I'm not the most entertaining, but it means the world to me that some of you do stay. And, you know, when I find you, I'm gonna give you a hug and probably $100, to be honest. But I appreciate each one of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, because I've never promoted this channel ever, and I've got 4 people that have seen these videos, and I don't know who you 4 are, but I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you, and I just might kiss you, if that's okay, honestly, because that's awesome. That means that somebody somewhere got something out of this. I really hope that someone somewhere got the help they needed. Guess I'm gonna sign off, because I could keep just rambling, because this is just something I'm so passionate about. But I'm gonna shut up before I get too carried away, and before this gets too long. Once again, I'm very thankful for all of you, and please keep doing awesome, keep doing great things. I'll talk to you again soon, I imagine. Goodbye.